Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today was chest and tricep day. So I started off with bench press, and I really just did one top set, then went over to my floor presses. I'm experimenting a little bit back and forth to see with the wider grip, right? Because again, I've done this with different grips, seeing with the really wide grip of if I get better stability with on the toes or with the heels flat. This didn't feel particularly stable. If you guys notice, it looks a little wobbly right as I touch the chest. So I think next week I'm going to go back, mess with the heels flat, and just work on getting a little bit stronger of an arch there. So setting up on that. But overall, still decently happy with the performance. I got 4 pause reps, right? Particularly 4th rep, pretty decent pause. So again, what I do need to work on there though is getting a little bit stronger at pauses and then driving with a little bit of leg drive. The thing that I notice here, the lockouts are the weakest. So when I get to those last reps, notice the lockout is still the weakest point. Like I actually get off the chest relatively quick. So not really particularly the issue for me. So I'm going to just keep hammering the triceps. I'm going to keep working the floor press. So for me in the past, the floor press carried over really well, and it kind of got to a point where I've got stronger and stronger on incline, not quite getting the same carryover, and it is a little bit slightly inflaming on my shoulders. And it's mainly because I can't touch the bar to my chest on an incline without at least, 135 plus. So sometimes 135 on the bar, I cannot touch it on an incline. I cannot get the bar to physically touch my chest. So with the floor press, a little bit different. Plus, I feel like just some overall chest development won't be bad. Although one thing I will say with the floor pressing, just kind of watching and feeling, I do have to learn to not get loose at the bottom of these. So on some of these, I kind of pause on the last rep and let it come to a full hard stop, and then the bar settles. I do need to stop doing that. So I think one of the keys here, again, is someone who's coached the floor press a lot, coaching myself here like I would one of my lifters. On these floor presses, I do need to focus on staying super tight at the bottom, right? So we don't want to see, so if you guys watch some of those third reps, I shift a little bit. And what I need to do is the triceps need to touch the floor, but I need to stay tight and not fully unload. And again, that's part of the key to getting the floor press right. So some of these, especially a lot of times the second reps look really good, like that second rep, really good. We still come to a stop, but the triceps softly touch. So we do need to watch that in terms of staying tight. But it is a brute strength exercise, like that ability to come from that dead stop, no leg drive, any of that. Great exercise, will bring up your chest. If you're thick like me, thick enough to where you can get real close to the chest. But a lot of times it's a back issue. A lot of times guys are like, well, how do we get there? Well, you need a really big back, right? A really big back will help with that. So because notice it's definitely not arms because I have a really long wingspan. Like notice how far up the bar is on my lockout. And this is with a really, really wide grip. Like a couple of my fingers are outside the rings. So I pretty much have my index finger on the rings here, or my middle finger. My middle finger is on the ring, so it's a real wide grip. But did those, and then I did some of the J-arm presses. I like the J-arm presses heavier. Occasionally I get people who are like, I don't know about that, try to go deeper, but I can't really always get deeper even if I go really light. So then I'm just not getting as much out of it. And I really do need the lockout strength. So these work, although part of me is looking at this going, even though I do get a lot of this and this helped build my closed grip press before, I almost feel like in this slot, it might even make more sense to just do a closed grip bench press. Okay, so I'll think about that for next week coming in. All right, I'll think about it for next week, of maybe next week coming in and just doing real rep work on the closed grip, because again, closed grip benching will improve your wide grip lockout. Right, look at the biomechanics involved, look at the rate of force production, look at the load on the triceps near the top. So, and it may be just as good as the J-arm press here as long as we're recovering. So something to think about. And a lot of people will look at this and they're like, well, it looks like a closed. Well, no, not really, because notice the forearm comes back. Very, very different lever, right? Very, very different lever. And I obviously would move a lot more weight on a closed grip bench, even a closed grip floor press. So I'll think about it for next week if I want to do that, in terms of just doing a closed grip bench for those same muscles involved, both the chest and the triceps, right? We start looking at, and I tell people that all the time, closed grip bench will improve your wide grip lockout. And it has a higher rate of force production there. Okay, just like the deficit deadlift will improve your deadlift lockout. So Again, I'll put thought into it when we get around to next week of what I want to do there, but I did push the floor press for 4 sets this time. So I went up to kind of one of the heaviest triple I was able to get last time, because when I went up heavier, I was only able to get a double because I ramped it up. But this time I just got 4 triples, and they were pretty well max reps. Like, I didn't feel like I could get a 4th rep on those. Those were 0 to 1 rep in reserve. Like, I didn't feel like I could have done another. Like, I would have possibly got stapled over. They would have been crazy grinders. So then I'm like, let's do the pullover, because I do get a lot of chest and tricep on the pullover also. And I'm like, let's go heavier. Let's quit playing with the really lightweight and just focus on the best stretch I can get here, because my range of motion doesn't improve even if I do 5-second pauses with a lighter weight. So let's just go to what my range of motion is. I get a great pump out of these, a burn in my triceps, burn in my chest. So I did like 13 reps with the 75. I'm like, I can go ahead and handle the 90 again. So I grabbed a pair of plates for the next 2 sets. And did 2 sets of 10 with that, and they were hard. I didn't feel like I was going to get to the 10th. So we know we're pretty close to failure there. And it's hard to judge failure on a movement like this. It's that deep stretch, and then you're pulling up and it's easier at the top. It's a little hard to gauge failure. I was surprised I got 10 on the second set. Like around rep 7, I'm thinking I don't have any more. So just getting to 10 was good. So again, and I felt really good stimulus from it. So for me, pullovers, I feel a ton of tricep. They get a good chest activation. And I feel like, again, just the benching and the floor press, with it being a lower down, not just incline, so it will work. The lower chest will probably continue to give me what I need out of the chest. The main trick of that, though, is I've got to stay tight on that wide grip. So something for my notes for next time, just for the technique, stay tight, stay tight, stay tight. Do not fully unload. You just need a soft touch of the triceps. We don't have to sink the floor press. Right? We get all the benefit without doing that, and then it's easier on your shoulders. You're not unloading, and the bar path's not changing. So again, you still want the bar path to be very similar to your bench, and it's also a good tool because you have to control it to see where that eccentric touch is, of finding where your best touch point is. And I'm always surprised on the floor press. My comfortable touch point is a little higher up than sometimes where I want to bench. So again, tells me a little bit about where my benching is with that sort of grip width. I do think what I'm noticing a little too, I probably need to touch a hair higher up than I have been doing. And when I go look at some of my strongest benches, maxes historically, they were a little bit higher than where I feel really comfortable. And it doesn't mean they're anywhere near no, they're still below the nipple, right? They're still below the nipple line, but I'm definitely not touching the stomach, pretty far up the rib cage. And it's very close to the nipple line. Where I touch, like within an inch of it, I feel like when I'm at my strongest. And on the floor press, that is where it naturally gravitates to, and I really control it. So again, just getting those levers dialed back in as I work the bench up. So stuff I'm going to be talking about a lot more is going to be leverages and levers, just like I did with the squat video for you guys yesterday. With that low bar squat of kind of discussing that. And then I finished up with 2 sets of the band press downs. I took these to failure. And it's interesting when I don't try to do 5 sets and I'm like, let me just go all out. I got about 35 reps instead of like 20. And then the second set was up in the 20s somewhere, and I just completely ran out of steam. So I just do these till I can't do them anymore. Sometimes I have to take a second and try to do another rep and see if I can. But again, great burn, good way to finish off the triceps after the other stuff. Overall, pretty happy with today's workout. I'm happy to get 4 reps of 315 for now. I do need to bring that up. We're going to continue to work on it. Try to recomp a little bit here at this body weight. Get the big lifts up. The squat's been coming along. The other stuff hasn't detrained that much, so may not be seeing quite the same jump. But happy overall, so I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.